In life, there are moments when something happens that changes your life forever. Like a thunderbolt from the blue, the event leaves behind it a wake of destruction and devastation that irrevocably alters the very course of your existence, sometimes forever. This is such a story of devastation and despair, and the wild daisy that springs forth from the bare desert of emotions, like the proverbial phoenix from the ashes. On the evening of 30th December 1993, a brutal salvo of AK-47 gunfire viciously curtailed Ginn Fourie's life, violently ending her own dreams and those of others about her at the tender age of 23. Death of a dream with the world at her feet. The event came to be known as the Heidelberg attack, happening just 4 months before South Africa's first democratic election.
She was at a restaurant called the Heidelberg and with her friends, and cadres came in and shot her.
Years and years of painful recollection, anger and helpless tears culminated into the watershed moment and decision for Ginn Fourie. Forgiveness was the only way out of the dark depths of despondency.
Well, obviously terribly sad and shocked, and it took a long time to get used to the idea. The brain knows she's gone, but the heart doesn't let go.
Ginn Fourie met Letlapa Mpatlele 9 years after the death of her daughter. Letlapa was in the Azanian People's Liberation Army, APLA, and as the then director of operations, he was indeed the mastermind of the Heidelberg attack.
It was 9 years after Lindy died that I met him, and I had made a mission statement 2 years before Lindy died to extend God's grace to each person I meet. So I think that's what the universe, what God did for me, was to extend forgiveness.
Emanating from the painful but liberating process of forgiveness, Ginn Fourie and Letlapa Mpatlele together created an organization called Ginn Fourie Foundation, a foundation named after her daughter, and are now working closely together to build bridges between the communities separated and incited to hate by the draconian apartheid laws. Their mission to bring healing and conciliation to the community.
We created the Ginn Fourie Foundation together, and we are invited to many places where there's conflict to speak and to show the documentary and have workshops on conscious communication and quantum energy coaching and many skills to bring healing.
In a complete turnaround of events, and despite the heart-rending loss of her only daughter, Ginn Fourie went ahead to seek for forgiveness on behalf of her ancestors for the shameful and inhumane acts they propagated, colonization and the evil of apartheid.
My ancestors were British and German, and they colonized Africa, the British and the Germans. So I asked for forgiveness on behalf of slavery and colonialization, and of course apartheid, which I think was a result of colonization and the British fight with the Afrikaners, the Boer War, at the end of the 1800s until 1902. There was a war amongst the English and the black South Africans were involved as well.
Ginn and Letlapa were featured in a documentary called Beyond Forgiving, and like a silver lining to a dark cloud, the documentary won the Golden Award for Inspiration at the International Film Festival for Peace, Inspiration and Equality last year. Ginn also won Woman of the Year Award in 2005 for her efforts.
I forgive you. No, it was like being struck by lightning out of the blue. No, in a cloudless day, a lightning strikes you. It was something that I was never prepared for.
I had this perception of anyone who could perpetrate such a deed as an evil person. And then when I met him, to see his integrity and his humility. So then there was no way I could shut him out.
It was like an opening of life, another window of life, because for a long time I had demonized the people I was fighting against. But when people were reaching out and even agreeing to a meeting with me, it was like an opening of a world that was until then closed to me.
I made a conscious decision and a principled decision to give up my justifiable right to revenge.
As she soldiers on in her noble cause, the heroic Ginn Fourie, Mama Africa, has a message for our country, Kenya.
My wish for Kenya is that people will learn to talk to each other and resolve the differences that have caused the conflict and the violence. Because with violence, it only brings more violence. Unless somebody is willing to absorb that violence and act lovingly and caringly in response, it will just go on forever.
Darkness cannot drive out darkness. Only light can do that. And hate cannot drive out hate. Only love can do that. It's not easy to forgive, but forgiveness is a lasting solution to attain peace. Balqesa Abdi, reporting from Bloemfontein, South Africa, for Channel 1, Living the Dream.